She's a one.
All right, so as I was saying, we're going to be talking about a different topic. It's going to be about customer service or customer success, as we call it today. I'm very happy to introduce you our guest today. So we have Åsa Nyström, who's coming from Buffer. Åsa, if you want to introduce yourself very quickly, explaining what you do and a little bit about your company.
Yeah, great. Can everyone hear me? Yeah, cool. My name is Åsa Nyström. I'm the VP of Customer Advocacy at Buffer. So I run the customer advocacy team, which is customer engagement, customer support, and all of that exciting stuff. And so I work for a company called Buffer. Buffer is a social media management platform. We help small businesses help them build their business online through social media. We are a completely remote company with about 90 people, and we're based all over the world. And you have a very large customer base, so it's going to be very interesting to speak about your customer base. Then we have Gilles Samoun, founder of Sales Machine. Gilles, if you can introduce yourself and speak a little bit about what Sales Machine does.
Okay. Thank you for this presentation. Okay, I'm the CEO and founder of Sales Machine. Sales Machine is customer success solution for SaaS. What we do is that we enable the customers to follow their customers' journey, and at each step of the journey means from sign up, trial, paying, conversion, upsell, downsell. So at every step of the journey, we score the customers based on their profile and behavior. And then we trigger actions for sales team, customer success team, or automation. An example is eventually a module which does what we call the PQL, so the conversion of trial to paying a customer. Mm-hmm. And we are capable, based on the fit and the product usage, to define what are the customer, who the one are going to convert, which improve the conversion rate by 40%, as an example.
Perfect, and I'm sure we'll be talking about that later. And to finish the introduction, we have Harrison Rose, founder of Paddle. Same thing, same exercise, go ahead.
Yep, I'm Harrison, co-founder at Paddle. Paddle is a SaaS commerce platform. So we're really focused on helping SaaS companies to both run and grow. And by run, we mean taking away all the burden of selling their products globally in terms of payments, checkout, tax, and more. And by grow, it's really helping these SaaS companies move into new markets more effectively. We've been going for 7 years. We're 150 people and have 2,000 sellers all over the world.
Thank you, Harrison. So let's get into the topic. We are talking about sales. It's nice to have new customers coming because we are building our companies. But once we have our clients, what do we do with them? The more we have clients, we need to treat them in the most efficient way. So this is what we're going to be talking. If we can keep the order, I think we're going to start with you, Åsa, about your customer organization. Why am I choosing you the first is because you've made a choice to change a little bit your organization of customer, where you were at the beginning working in a customer success standard organization, and now you went to customer advocacy. So if you can describe your organization, we'll be happy.
We have 22 people in the team. And a few years ago, we went from having just support and also started exploring with customer success. So we had a small team doing customer success, 4 people. So it's, I guess, the sort of standard customer success, trying to work with, expansion and extra seats and all of that, and sort of trying to engage with customers. And we found that our customers at least weren't really too interested to be chatting to us once they'd converted. And also our pricing structure at the time wasn't really set up for expansion. So it was hard to sort of sell extra seats or expand their accounts because there's only so many social media accounts really that you have at a company or an agency. So we actually removed our customer success team a few years ago, and then just went back to just having support, but having support and recently introduced a customer engagement team. And the customer engagement team works now more just as it says, sort of literally explains, like engaging our customers. So we do a lot of onboarding, which we have found to be really helpful for our customers and for conversions, obviously, but also sort of keeping them. So with retention, so onboarding is of course very, very important. So we do a lot of demos and webinars and training for high touch customers. But we also in the support team work with support driven growth. So we really try and help with answering questions they might ask us later on and sort of preempting that. So that's sort of the change we have gone. We have removed the trending customer success type of team at Buffer.
Great, thank you so much. And we'll come back into customer segmentation later because you talked about high-touch customers versus the low-touch. Harrison, if you want to describe your customer organization, how would it be today?
Yeah, similarly, we've had to kind of segment our folks up a little bit. I kind of break them down in three, and some of their roles and responsibilities are similar to what you've been just describing, but we have a bit of a unique position, which I'll explain in just a second. So we have a seller support team. This is just 7 individuals, all based in London, and they act as like a pooled team and just handle any inbound queries that our sellers might submit. Nice and simple. They handle about 2,500 of those every month. Now, where it gets interesting for us is that we also take on a lot of the support for the sellers actually using our platform. So we handle their refund requests and first-tier order-related support. This team's much larger. There's 19 of those folks split across both London and the Philippines, and they handle 22,000 tickets per month. So it's a very different beast, if you like. They handle 400 calls across 14 different languages. It's very different. And then the third group, which sounds a little bit more like what you're describing, focus much more on onboarding and the growth of our existing customers, and they're the account managers, and that's a team of 7 in London.
Thanks. And Gilles, of course, to finish, how is organized your customer service team?
I mean, our customer success team is essentially in twofold. You know, we have the high-touch customers and the low-touch. Everything which is about low-touch is essentially automated, and high-touch is personal and personal touch.
Okay, and in terms of the population you have, do you have the same people working with the two segmentation, or it's different people? You have maybe customer success working in high-profile customers, and then you would have more, like you guys were explaining, support people answering the query for low-touch.
Yeah, for the customer success is essentially for high-end customers, so
Perfect.
the one which are paying the highest, and all the others are essentially, we use our software, is essentially automated. And the goal is really to, overall, the issue is that how do you retain a customer? And there is twofold. One is to extend the user base on the number of users using your product and the depth of the usage, because you need to explain them how to use the features which will, which will keep them and not going to the competition, but because that's your core value. So all this, on the low end is automated. On the high end is, this is all human.
Okay, so you give me a good transition. So if we come back into customer segmentation, for us, for instance, at Botify, we're working in tiers, so we don't have high touch, low touch. It's not a binary system. We have 4 different tiers. It's another way of working. But now, basically, what do you do with those segmentation? So my next question would be, we have to organize our processes in order to ease the experience of customers with us. So Harrison, I'm going to start with you. You founded the company. It went really fast. You started, I remember you have two population of customers, the sellers and the buyers, if I'm not wrong. And how did you start working on process, and what were the first processes you had to put in place to ease, basically, especially for your team, but also for your customers?
Yeah. I mean, lots of things break, and these changes all the time. I think because of that, we've had to, and because of our growth, think about this quite systematically. And I guess we're constantly going through a process of mapping out every single process that we have in each of those teams. What are the things that they're doing each day, basically? And then at a deeper level, what are the steps they're taking in each of those processes? And then we look at, okay, which of those steps are the most common across each one of these processes? And then look to automate or make those steps themselves more efficient. And in doing that, rather than just focusing on one process at a time and one thing going really well and the other thing breaking. We kind of take a slightly more holistic approach and get better more broadly over time. And we've kind of had to think in that way, I guess, because we have two different types of customers, and where some of the steps that we're taking to support them are similar, the actual processes themselves are very different. So we've had to look at it at a slightly different level to, I think, some people do.
And that's interesting because you said you studied the patterns, you recorded those patterns in order to set processes. My next question for you would be, and then what do you do with those patterns? What exactly, how do you materialize this?
Yeah, there's another step in there as well, but whilst mapping it, you have to obviously ask your reps what it is that they're doing, and sometimes what they describe they're doing and what they're actually doing is different. So I would triple check that. But you look at those that are most common, both in terms of the frequency in which you're taking the actions and how long they take, and then we work with a support ops team to basically make whatever step it is that we're making more efficient. But this all sounds quite retrospective, but the real benefit working with that support ops team has had is that it's basically their jobs to spot these bottlenecks way in advance, and plan for them in advance so that things don't break. That goes well most of the time, but occasionally there's a fire.
Perfect, thank you. We'll be talking about tool later. Also, same thing, you have a large base. You also switch from the standard customer success to customer engagement, you said, and advocacy. What were the first processes you put in place to ease the process of your team and as well to facilitate the experience of your customer?
So I guess with the different teams, they have very different processes, and there's a lot more proactive processes in place for the customer engagement team versus the customer advocates, the support team. So introducing customer engagement, we put in place a lot of the customer sort of life cycle and the different sort of check-ins process around that. We introduced HubSpot, so CRM. The check-ins, the training, and all of that, of course, is also the onboarding. So we put together the drip campaigns, which customers received during the trial. So those are the things that sort of came with customer engagement. So a lot more proactive processes in place than support.
All right, and next transition for you, Gilles, because not only you have a customer success team, but also your tool is specialized in customer success, so which is going to be my introduction to now tools. In terms of processes for you and your customers, what would be the most important switch in managing clients you would do to these processes?
To answer that, is what we have done. The first process that we have put in place is the onboarding. There is a huge correlation between onboarding and retention. A bad onboarding means churn at the end. So that's the first processes that we have put, and we have it put in place, but we are also improving it over the time. And the second one has been QBR, so to have regular calls and checks with the customers. After that, there are plenty others, but that's for me the more important is the onboarding.
Okay, so the start at the beginning of the relationship with the client, what I call the honeymoon of the relationship with your customers, it is the onboarding. Now let's switch into the tool, because once you have set up your processes, the processes are only written, and you need to, first of all, sell it to your teams, but also you need to enable your team to practice them with tools. Harrison, I know you are using different tools. Can you describe those tools without doing commercial? It's important for us to know who they are and what you do with those.
Yeah. So on the buyer support side, so the real kind of more transactional, shorter-term support, the kind of short tickets about refunds, etc., we're using Zendesk there, which I'm sure most of you have heard of. On the seller support side, we've tried a lot of different tools. We made the move away from Intercom to Customer in the last year, which is a little bit newer, for many reasons, mainly to do with the metrics it allowed us to track and how we actually measure the output and the performance of our teams, because as we were scaling and more of these tickets were coming through, there were certain metrics and measures we wanted to put in place to ensure that they would scale ultimately.
All right, thank you. Åsa, what are the tools you are using to manage your team and your customer base?
So yeah, we use Help Scout for support for our support team. We've used them for a very long time, and they're great. So yeah, we use Help Scout for support, also for our engagement team. So basically, any customer communication, really marketing or engineering as well, use Help Scout. We use our own tool, Reply. It's a customer engagement tool, so not at all advertising. We use it.
That's
no.
your own tool, you said?
That's one of our products in our platform. So it's an engagement tool called Reply. So we use that. We have a huge volume of support tickets over social because we're in social media. So that makes sense. So we do a lot of support over social media using Reply. We use HubSpot as a CRM, which is sort of the funnel as well for when we do sort of inbound sales. We also use Intercom for drip campaigns and sort of in-app messaging, and again also Help Scout for in-app FAQs, self-help, which is also really helpful. We have so many tools. Those are just the top ones.
It looks like it. Gilles, obviously you have your tool. I hope your teams are using your tool.
Yeah, it's mandatory. Yeah, we use the basement is our tools. Communication, interaction with customers done with Intercom. And recently we added Zendesk because Intercom is very good for immediate chat and immediate answers. As soon as it starts to be complex and needs to be researched and etc., we need to keep track and to have priorities and etc. So we use Zendesk for that. So we have the three tools. So all the customer success work is done in Sales Machine with playbooks and etc. But all the rest is done with.
It's just a really interesting distinction. So one of the issues we had with Intercom when we were using it as a support tool, basically, is that there is an expectation when you're using that tool of people that it is live chat, and we weren't using it as live chat, which isn't the fault of the tool, but it was setting the expectations of the person submitting the ticket incorrectly, and then they'd be frustrated. So your distinction there between using Intercom as the live chat tool and Zendesk for your support tickets is really important.
Cool. Gilles, you said one word that is very important when you're dealing with your clients is you talked about playbook. I'm going to translate it to automation to make sure that we are automating. You don't automate your playbook?
No, actually the playbook are not automation.
Okay, on my side they are, so this is why I was asking.
The playbooks are generating, you can have automatic playbooks, which where we call workflows, which everything is automated, sending email, SMS, whatever. But we also have what we call playbooks for the customer success, which generate tasks and sequences of tasks that they need to achieve to obtain a certain goal.
Perfect, I
so
see.
That's manual. Okay, so
Okay.
that's we differentiate the two. Playbooks are for people, and workflows are for automation.
Perfect. So let's stay in automation. That's definitely, for me, one of the trends, and we've been automating for several years now. If you guys have example of automation you've put in place, that'd be great to share, because I know some people are asking us, how do you automate and what do you need to automate, not to automate too much and leave the human being still be on top of its customers. So, Harrison, you want to start?
Sure. Yeah, it's really important that you automate the right things, and that's where that analysis we were talking about really comes into play. In terms of things that we've automated or tried to make more efficient, sometimes these things can be really simple. Think about the actions that you're taking every single day that you want to make more efficient or automate. We've made the process of looking up a seller so that you can deal with them and help them much faster, for example, and that you can do that from one click from both Zendesk and customer. But things can get more technical or more exciting. So a tool that I know that we're looking at right now, I think we have signed a contract with them. I'm not sure. I don't know if they're here either. Don't pester me. Please pester me. It's with Poly.ai. So rather than replacing people or support people, which is this big scaremongering topic that you might read about, that we have a really interesting use case with them in that the tool analyzes the text that of the ticket that is submitted by the seller or the buyer in our case. The tool then serves up an internal note to our support team to try and help them answer that query as efficiently as possible, such as a link to the order in our system or a suggested response or FAQ, for example. Rather than directing that ticket straight back to the customer and thus there not being human interaction or a check in place, it's actually augmenting our team and allowing them to achieve more and do more. And it's quite an interesting use of AI, and it allows us to still own that customer experience, which is so important to us, but can hopefully augment and make our actual support reps more effective at what they do.
Cool, thank you. Åsa, you want to jump on that one?
Yeah, no, I think we definitely have a long way to go with automation and AI. I think we resisted it for quite some time because we, sort of known for being very personal and that. So it's sort of recently that we're now trying to sort of improve automation. I think, it's important that the actual conversations that you need to have in sort of direct and not automated are very personal, but a lot of customers just want to find the answers themselves or not even having to ask the question. So right now similar like with Help Scout, we have everything automated in terms of customer information and sort of going between our different, like the admin and, Stripe and all of that is automated. The sort of in-app FAQs are automated depending on where in the product you are. So suggested sort of FAQ articles are showing. And also over social, we have this sort of automated, it is a bot, but over social we sort of need to, we can't see the customer's account sometimes just by their social media profile because it could be a personal profile or whatever. But so we need to always ask what email is connected to their account. So we have a bot sort of, so we're cutting out like that one, person having to ask that. So we have a bot in place for social media to sort of say, hey, what's your, welcome, what's your email? And that sort of cuts down the response time.
Does it ask them to tweet it back?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So you have to context switch because that's when people get annoyed, right?
Yeah. So everything stays in social. We try and really keep everything in social that started in social, and it's only really like when it gets quite technical that we do move it over to email.
Great, thank you. An example of workflows and not playbooks since the workflows are automated.
You want the real answer?
Of course.
It's almost
We hope for that.
It's almost changing all the time.
Okay.
Okay, because we're learning. We're testing, learning. Basically, at the end, the aim is to make them use the product more and deeper. That's I would say that's the objective. And we have two ways: in-app and with email. We don't use social. Our customers doesn't fit with that segment.
Great, thank you. We still have 5 minutes, which will bring us now. So we talked about processes. Let's speak a little bit about customer satisfaction. We have many customers. We need to understand if they're happy or not. Very quickly, a roundtable. Åsa, we're going to start with you. What are your measurements? How do you track if your customers are happy?
We use customer satisfaction score. We use the one that is inside Help Scout, so it's a happiness score. So we use that. It's sort of in every email, so customers can rate their support experience. We often find that they rate the product though instead, so it's kind of really a bit difficult. But we also use NPS. We use Vutric for NPS. Similar thing there, I guess. It was very helpful beforehand, like years ago. Now it's maybe not as reliable anymore. The market is very saturated and we're not as unique anymore. So, but we use NPS. We've used customer effort score as well. We are not currently using it. I think those are, we also do quite a lot of, like our product team does quite a lot of surveys. Okay. Yeah.
Right, thank you. Gilles?
We have the two things. We have our internal metrics and our own metrics, like so NPS essentially. Okay. And internally we have our own metrics. Our product is producing the metrics for the product usage and not the satisfaction, but the product usage and the KPIs.
Which kind of metrics are you using then?
MIU, DIU, number of actually that can be configured because all our customers wants to have different kind of metrics, so we enable them to define their own metrics and based on the product. There is a huge trend now. I saw the presentation before and I don't agree because we need to put their SQL, MQL and SQL in the middle. You need to put PQL, which is product qualified leads, because a lot of it is about product and that's what SaaS is bringing compared to the traditional sales funnel.
Perfect. Very quickly, Harrison.
Yeah. The support team specifically are targeted on CSAT, like these guys, and SLAs, so the speed at which they respond to people. Two other really important KPIs to us as well are our like ratios, so the standard number of tickets that any seller actually will submit, to again try and reduce that through product and FAQs and things like that. And we're thinking about seller health scores right now for the account managers who also work with NPS.
Cool, perfect. Okay, so we're already at the end, so that was very fast. A little word of conclusion. We talked about processes, we talked about tools, we talked about satisfaction of the client. If you had one word to provide to the audience that would help them to understand what it is to actually improve your processes or whatever you are using for your customer, what would it be? Knowing the fact that you gave already a lot of information. So something a little bit different. You want to start?
Yeah, probably don't optimize processes for you and optimize them for the customer and what they want. I would suggest.
Gilles?
Product usage. Watch what they do. I mean, have KPIs. I mean, that's what we do, and more and more, it's a product-led world now with the SaaS. So we need to really monitor and measure the product usage.
Yeah, that's right. Very important, the product usage. If your clients are not using the product in the frequencies that they're supposed to do, there is a problem. They might churn. Last but not least, Åsa?
Yeah, I think I agree with what the others said. Customer research, have someone dedicated or a product team do a lot of customer research, and then sort of combine that with the insights that your customer support team is getting, and make sure that you sort of listen to both prospect customers as well as existing customers.
All right, thank you. I don't know if we have time for questions. Yeah, so we have time for questions. If anyone has a question, it's the moment. That was very clear, that means. All right, so, well, thank you guys, first of all. Thank you so much for sharing. That's very important. Thank you guys for being here, and enjoy the event. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
She's a one.